Howdy. Welcome to good news for people who don't know their geography very damn well. It's me, DJ Middleway, here with the apology episode. I thought of Montreal was Portugal the Man. So now we have a whole committing to the bit and reviewing the album in full for Of Montreal's The Sunlandic Twins, as opposed to me overcommitting on this false narrative that Of Montreal are bioterrorists that are going on a cruise, and that's not the case. They're
Montreal is innocent. Portugal the Man is very guilty.
Guilty as the Portugal charges. Man, the Portuguese man of war, out to sea, ready to sting us all. Actually, I don't know enough Portugal, period, the man, to have an opinion on them otherwise.
Portugal the Man. Here's my opinion on Portugal the Man. For all you people who are so curious to hear. Hi, my name is Aidan. I met DJ Middleway at the Of Montreal concert. I was on the last episode, doing my best impression of a screaming Muppet. And Portugal the Man used to be cool, and now they've sold the fuck out. And that's that on that.
I can't wait to listen to them.
Listen to their old shit. Listen to Of the Mountain on the Cloud. It's not easy being a wizard. Evil Friends is good too. Church Mouth. Okay. Anyway.
I do say that with sincerity. I always like getting to know new music and listen to new things like that. Even if like there's like a bit of like jaded like feelings about certain things. Like I will go back to transporting myself to the past. I went and saw Idols in Bangkok, of all places. There's a music festival called Mahorasop. It was very cool, but I like to listen to bands without ever hearing anything about them before.
Oops.
Idols is great from what I like know lyrically, and like they're like, my friend's an immigrant, woohoo! I'm like, yeah, they seem like a pretty rad band.
That's good,
yeah, but like the opening like thing that the singer did was like take his mic and swing it around like a giant lasso. And I'm like, what the hell? What is the sound equipment budget y'all have? Do you have to replace your XLRs like nightly? What is this?
That's badass.
Especially
that's rock and roll.
It's rock and roll, but it's expensive as hell and disrespectful to the mic equipment. They told me back when I was doing tech theater in high school, this was like 12 plus years ago at this point, like, don't do this. This is disrespectful to your equipment. And I'm like,
that's why it's rock and roll.
I guess so.
You're not meant to do it.
Yeah, you can. I've seen people very recently break their guitars on stage, not purposefully, but like
that's classic.
Yeah,
not purposefully. Oh god.
Do you know Tropical Fuckstorm?
Vaguely.
So they came to Austin recently, and Gaz, the guitar singer guy, he this whammy bar fell off, and he did some excellent improvisation on stage, but like he had to go
really
through a whole other fucking instrument like because of his instrument breaking.
Oh my god.
And like they really made it work.
I mean that's kind of cool to be honest.
It's been a whole spectrum of like the people performing in terms of like how grandiose they do their like being on stage and playing their music versus like simple like just the sound, just the raw materials, and the performance aspect being just like the fact that they're on stage doing the music. And I think Of Montreal mixes the two together just so perfectly. Seeing them like without any context was the best way to do it, because it was truly a mind-blowing experience.
Fucking good.
I think it may have distracted me from a bit of the lyricism, and like I was a little bit THC'd up, so like I think re-listening to music may or may not re-trigger like the memories from what I was seeing on stage versus like how I was grooving and everything. So I'm very excited for this.
I would definitely like to get it straight, like, which song did they bring up? The Freaky Birds.
Yeah, I want to remember the birds for sure. That's the Birdly song. Aidan, tell us a little bit more of the history that you have with this album. I mean, like 2005, you've got like 20 years of history, like listening to this album.
Mm-hmm. Well, I personally, my history with Of Montreal is not 20 years long.
Oh. Yeah, it would put you at like 4 years old, like getting into this band.
I got into Of Montreal. It's kind of a similar situation as you. As someone that I was very close to, my best friend Nate, got me into Of Montreal like 5 years ago. So, oh my god, do I need to repeat myself?
No, you're doing great. I can always edit this. Like, remember, if you're ever wondering how quiet you're, look at the Sonic Hedgehog lines.
Okay, gotta go fast.
The big blue blur.
Gotta go fast. Yeah, my best friend Nate got me into Of Montreal. The album that he got me onto was Hissing Fauna, Are You the Destroyer, which is the one that you've heard the one song off of. Mm-hmm. And that's always been his favorite. So that one was my experience with Of Montreal for a few years, but I listened to this one for the first time pretty recently because I knew I was going to see Of Montreal at a concert that happened to be the 20th anniversary of the Sunlandic Twins, and I realized like, oh shit, this rocks my socks. This is like so my style, and it was at that point, like the past couple months, that I went through and like listened through their entire discography, and I can comfortably say that this is my favorite album. So I could not be more pleased to have gotten to see them perform it.
Hell yeah. Thank you. Is there a particular going into that concert, like, I guess like there's no like spoilers at this point, we have experienced the concert. I know what I'm kind of looking into, and I'm getting into this album with you. We're gonna we got the whole record, we're gonna listen to it front and back. We're like really deep diving into it, since Aidan got the vinyl and has like the lyrics on that thing. We're gonna open it up and look at it, like really just go in depth and like find out more. Is there anything in particular you're looking forward to on this re-listen? Other than like listening to a fresh, crisp record on your freshly dumpster dived and retrofitted like vinyl player you got here.
Yeah, this is this is the first record that I'm playing on this thing. I haven't been able to use my records in several years, so yeah, that's really hype. I'm just looking forward to reliving that experience. That was really such a fun concert. I wish I could go back in time and just do it again.
Yeah, I feel you. If I like was doing the whole thing like I did with Modest Mouse, seeing them 3 times in a row, even if there was like the same songs night to night, like I'd want to see it like at least from a different perspective, because seeing it from the side, that was pretty cool. I got to see some angles in the lighting that like,
yeah, it was interesting.
Very interesting. But like seeing it from the front and really like being immersed in it, I think that would have been a like even cooler thing.
I had to creep around sometimes to get a good look at the visuals that they were putting up. But my favorite songs off of this thing have like changed since I listened to the concert, and I think that they might change again. Ooh. So I'm really excited to relive the experience and hear the songs in a new way again.
We love an adaptable favorites. There's one thing Isaac Brock talked about at a VIP show when people were asking him his least and most favorite vegetables, I think, is like, he was like, I don't really have things that are my favorite. I like are ranking them. It's just kind of things I like and things I dislike. So like I've been trying to take that philosophy when listening to music. But especially with this album and that performance, there's nothing I dislike off of this album. I think it is maybe I will tell you at the end, but it may be a 10 out of 10 for me for sure.
Definitely.
I'm pumped.
There's some really great instrumental tracks on this album that I was listening to thinking, wow, this is fucking amazing. Unfortunately, there's no way in hell they're going to play it, because I had no idea that a 20th anniversary tour meant that they're just doing the album front to back. So it was really such a dream to hear them do those beautiful instrumentals.
Hell yeah. There's been a couple anniversary albums that Modest Mouse has done, and I haven't been able to attend either of those. It was Good News for People of Bad News and the Lonesome Crowded West that had their anniversary tours, and like, from my knowledge, like a lot of those tracks don't have like an especially like hyper instrumental points. Like, when they do it, they like just go off and jam pretty well.
Hell yeah.
But I know, for example, I think Trucker's Atlas was played a lot like abbreviated because of it being like a 12-minute track on that record. But it seemed like especially with this like performance, like I can tell from the very start, like I only listened to like the first track off the album when I got home, because I've just been so hammered with everything that life throws at me responsibility wise, and I still gotta like finish the Iowa episode as of recording this. I love starting multiple projects and not getting them finished. I'm a shit project manager simply because this is my project management experience thus far. It's my first podcast that I'm actually releasing episodes and doing.
That's so fucking swag.
Thank you.
It is cool to be a dilettante. Dilettante, someone who just dabbles in everything. Someone who's always starting new projects. It's cool.
Yeah, this Lonesome Crowded Cast could be quickly turned into an Of Montreal podcast. Who knows?
Fuck yeah!
I mean, it's slowly like been the whole time a computer virus of Undertale Deltarune, like over encompassing this whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the mission statement has been a podcast for the fans, by the fans, but secretly
it's a podcast for the Deltarune fans.
A Trojan horse to get Isaac Brock and his merry modest mouses into peak nerdy shit like JoJo's and Deltarune.
And the Of Montreal people.
Yeah, I guess so. Now that if they ever listen to this, I'm very thankful that you're taking time out of your day to listen to two nerds babble about your like beautiful music. But
I love you.
I love y'all as well. Y'all blew my mind from minute one, and I'm excited to actually deep dive into this. Before we start, just taking a look at the literature, I guess you can look it up on wherever you find this, or your own copy of the vinyl,
which you should have.
Yeah, oh my god. The Of Montreal, the Sunlandic Twins, has the Twins of the Thought with this like red orby like fire. Like I'm not well versed on like why the art is the way it is. I have a bevy on the countertop as well that I have not opened yet, but like it has a like really interesting mix of like, when you open the page, like this geometric but also painted sort of vibe, and you've got some like, I think like how would you describe it, like claymation sort of look?
Oh yeah, there's definitely a mix of photographs of real things with like computer effects, like just things that have been passed through a billion Photoshop effects. Looks like there's some Mandelbrot fractals in there. It's very psychedelic.
This was like produced in 2005. This is like all the original art from that. And in the forward from Kevin Barnes at the front, you see the Japanese advertisement. This was released for 2,940 yen, tax included. That would have put the album about at the time like $29 when this first dropped. And
worth every penny.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like adjusted for inflation, I would say, like, how much did you purchase this vinyl for at the concert?
It was $35.
Yeah, adjusted for inflation, you are actually probably getting a better deal.
Yeah, I mean, that's for a CD. That's $30 there for a CD.
Yeah, you can see the artwork of the CD on the front.
It's a beautiful CD.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, A lot of Montreal's album covers are Kevin's own art, and a lot of them look very similar to this.
Wow.
Especially like, you go back and look at shit from the time. There's a lot of stuff that honestly looks like it was drawn in MS Paint in the most delightful way, and
also like hand drawn in some ways too. Like kind of a mix between
a mix.
Oh man,
it's got this very cool kind of like outsider art style, but like so complex and vivid and imaginative.
If only I could like have been there in the moment, but I was like 10. With Satanic Panic in the Attic release. So like, when did they start releasing? Let's give some context. Like 1996.
1996. So Kevin Barnes first I think moved out to Athens, Georgia, from the like small town in Georgia where they were born, to like pursue their dreams of being a big musician. They got with a record label because they just like sent a cassette tape, and started meeting musicians from some other indie acts that would later become really big, like Neutral Milk Hotel, Olivia Tremor Control. They were all like palling around. That was sort of the milieu in which Kevin's first couple of albums were made: Cherry Peel and The Gay Parade.
The Gay Parade. No wonder.
Fucking Gay Parade.
No wonder Holland was like talking about the controversial quote, which I don't know if I can repeat anymore.
Controversial quote. It's controversial for more reasons than you know, because I disagree. Because Kevin Barnes released a statement on Twitter in 2020 that said, "I am non-binary and genderqueer. My pronouns are he, she, they.
All the above. I love it.
And I'm bisexual." So I think that Kevin Barnes is just, well, an out-and-out faggot and not a straggit.
Okay, yeah, that's I why do I, the trans woman, like feel uncomfortable saying this? I think it's just ingrained in me to not. But simultaneously, like I don't see a lot of like queer icons in like music nowadays, especially like with how the touring industry is, like in just the music industry in general. So it's good to see like people that represent you on stage, and I haven't felt that in a long time. Kevin
Barnes and the opening act that they had.
Oh, Pelvis Wrestling, yes.
Genderqueer icons.
And oh my god, the name is escaping me, even though I published the episode.
Such a cute name.
The one before it. I can edit me fumbling the name so badly. Buzz. Let me turn off my notifications. Kromer. Kromer was really fun. I liked the bass on Korme's music quite a lot. Like, it was very groovy and driving and like
oh man,
definitely like music to hop around and dance to.
Kromer was so much fun. Kromer was just punk with a lot of heart and very gay. It was the kind of music that is so cathartic to scream along to, and so easy to jump around to and pound your hands in the air.
I love that. They're Austin local as well, so like I know a lot more events could use like them opening up like to get like the crowd riled up. So I love this sort of vibe.
Yeah, it makes me so happy that Of Montreal found them however they did.
Yeah,
and put them in front of us.
I think they partnered with Resound for this event. Same people that got Tropical Fuck Storm to like perform here in Austin, which is great.
Hell yeah.
And Pelvis Wrestling as well is a lot more like kind of somber and relaxing than I expected as well. I kind of just from the vibe, like aesthetically, expected something more folksy, but it's very like kind of like surreal and like deep. And
there's definitely aesthetically there was kind of a vibe of like, oh shit, who's that? Orville Peck.
Orville Peck, yes.
Orville Peck. I was expecting some like Lord Huron, that kind of folksy vibe.
almost like a more queer and femme Nick Cave, like in a way.
Yeah, it was definitely a little more rock inspired, but
Mhm.
also a very, very slow and smooth music that you sway to.
Oh yeah. Or like I had a whole sit down and just kind of let the emotion like flow through me. And honestly, Pelvis Presley, my new favorite Austin band.
Those songs honestly kind of fucked me up. Like I had to go sit down with you because I was starting to get emotional. I was like, this is not the headspace
I couldn't even
of Montreal for
fully like hear the lyrics and understand what was being said, but I was like feeling it for sure.
Yeah.
Like, so like I think like it helped me do the emotional catharsis and like feeling through all that before we like jumped into like the big fun like circuit experience that is the Sunlandic Twins.
Yeah. Hey, before we listen, I wanted to share with you a little of the context of this record that I learned.
Please.
From the documentary I watched today called "The Past Is a Grotesque Animal," from 2012 about Kevin Barnes, the mastermind behind Of Montreal. So they while they were in the early stage of their career, they ended up meeting wait, I need to get my shit together.
No, you're fine.
You can edit my moment of silence.
If you want, we could read off the quote from Kevin Barnes at the top of the album here, if that gives you any like better context.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Do you want to read it?
Yeah.
I do plenty of yapping, so I'm just like tilt the mic towards you and get all this in.
All right, Kevin Barnes says, I recorded the Sunlandic Twins in friends' apartments in Oslo, and in a house that I was living in with Nina Twin and my brother David in Athens, Georgia. We rented the house from the Frosted ambassador Eric Harris. It was at the end of a cul-de-sac and about 20 yards away from a very active and loud train track. That was mentioned in the documentary. The conductors would blast their horn every time they got close to us, and it would shake the house and rattle our brains. I recorded Satanic Panic in the attic there as well. It wasn't ideal, but it was weirdly inspiring. Nina became pregnant on the Spida tour, and our life was suddenly very different. I had to start thinking practically about the future in a way that I never had to before. At that point, I had released 6 albums, been touring constantly, and hadn't had any real commercial success of any kind. It definitely felt like an impossibility for me to ever earn a living, let alone support a family through music. We couldn't afford health insurance in the US, so we decided to have the child in Norway, where Nina is from, to take advantage of their free health care. Nina traveled to Oslo alone around her 6th month of pregnancy, and I stayed in Athens to complete the new album, The Sunlandic Twins, and to move all of our belongings out of the rental house and into storage. Once the album was completed and David's art was finished, I joined her. We couch surfed at friends' places in Oslo and at Nina's parents' house in Kongsvinger until she went into labor. Our friend in Oslo let us use her apartment for the first month after Alibi was born, and it was there that Polyvinyl sent me copies of the still unreleased Sunlandic Twins on CD. I remember feeling very proud of the album and excited to share it with the world, but also extremely anxious about our future. Would this just be yet another album that no one really cared about? Should I give up the dream of being a professional musician and find a more practical career? I remember having a phone conversation with our booking agent, Eric Carter, after Alibi was born and we were still in Oslo. I told him I wanted to cancel our upcoming tour so we could find a real job. He convinced me to give it one more chance and follow through with the Sunlandic Twins tour before giving up on the dream. I'm happy that I followed his advice because the band started to take off after that. It was our first widely appreciated and critically acclaimed album, and the songs The Party's Crashing Us, Wrath Pinned to the Mist, Requiem for OMM2, and Oslo in the Summertime have been staples of our live shows ever since. It was a very tumultuous moment in time for me, but it was also a very inspiring period. Our child, Alibi Beatrice, was a good luck charm, and the next few years would prove to be the most commercially successful period of my life. Written by Kevin Barnes in 2024.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so it was this album, in my opinion, inaugurated Of Montreal's greatest period creatively. It was this, and then immediately after that is Hissing Fauna Are You the Destroyer, which many consider their best album. It's definitely a contender. And then they had Skeletal Lamping and Paralytic Stalks, which are, you know, if you've heard any of Montreal song, assuming you're not like particularly familiar with them, it's off of one of those 4 albums. And the period was inaugurated by Kevin Barnes kind of, you know, the baby Alibi was not planned. Kevin Barnes' life changed really dramatically in ways that they hadn't planned. The documentary talked about how they were extremely depressed and adrift living in Oslo, you know, living in this foreign country, suddenly being a parent without the resources to really raise a child, and having to like reconfigure their life and possibly give up their dream of making music. You know, it was this kind of emotional environment that gave them the inspiration to create what I think is their very best album. So it's really interesting.
Hell yeah. Because it's not just the community, it's not just the healthcare that makes like raising a child like feasible. It's community as well, and it's hard to do that like whenever your whole band is on the other side of the world, and it's like the distance making the heart grow fonder of like the almost lost connection that Kevin Barnes had with of Montreal is like, I'm really thankful that history is the way it is for Of Montreal, because it brought to us this wonderful album and this special concert experience. So I'm excited to listen to this album given the context of everything we know.
Me too.
Hell yeah. So we're going to pause the recording to listen to the tracks, and then since you were saying each side is like 3 songs, we'll touch upon each 3 and then flip it over again and get back to you on each flip. This is the burger flip of album reviews. So let's get to the Krusty Krab and listen to some hot plastic.
Woo!
All right, so we just listened to I'm great at talking. How about you introduce these tracks?
Okay. Yeah, so we just listened to the first 3 tracks off the album. We have Requiem for OMM2, I Was Never Young, and Wrath Pinned to the Mist and Other Games.
Hell yeah. I think this is a fantastic opening trio of an album. I'm coming from this like context as a Modest Mouse fan, as the person who like pretty much exclusively like knows a band like identity wise and discography wise, like of listening to them front to back and like all this other things. So in terms of how like well like the dancey groove just like hits from top to bottom with these first 3 tracks, like it gets you like it doesn't skip a beat and has you dancing throughout the whole thing, and there's like these, and along with the lyrics, there's these little asides from Kevin Barnes and like where they're at like with their sort of like thinking and sort of vibe with the song, and a lot of this has a lot to do with like with their mindset being kind of just like a lot more open-minded and positive for like being in the present moment and like being faced with like the troubles that can exist, to kind of embrace it a bit more enthusiastically and with a bit of like not like denial of like the one's surroundings, but like embracing the abstract and beautiful and the imaginary parts of it.
Wrath Pinned to the Mist is definitely about like using fantasy as a coping mechanism, which I think is a theme from the very beginning of Montreal's discography that does kind of gradually, I think Kevin grows out of it a little later on. I think it kind of fades into the background, but it's definitely something that's very personal to them.
For sure. This song in particular, there's a album that Modest Mouse has done. The third album came out in 2001, The Moon and Antarctica. Yeah, you got some sticker ASMR going on. So this song, Wraith penned to the Mist in other games, talks about let's pretend that we don't exist. Let's pretend that we're in Antarctica. I will read the little aside here. It says, "This is a role-playing game my friends and I play. We try to keep life fun and interesting. If you are bored with your life, then why not pretend you are in Antarctica? Notice the Duchamp reference? Duchamp?
He's some old French philosopher. I don't know his thing.
Oh, I think I'll get to the other poon point in a second. But with this, like in particular, being I think it is the antithesis of The Moon and Antarctica as a vibe entirely as a whole, because of the fact that like in the Cold Place, it's very much a song of Isaac just being like very much in that dark, desolate present moment, being the coldest part of the world, and stepping down from that like position of being the president of Antarctica, this president of a very barren like wasteland of ice and nothingness, whereas like you have of Montreal being like, we are celebrating this bizarre circumstances that we're in, and like as well there's another set of lyrics, maybe I'll never die, I'll just keep growing younger with you and you'll grow younger too. There's a line off of I Came as a Rap from that same album.
Well, I don't know, but I've been told you'll never die and you never grow.
Being like almost like counter theory to this whole thing as well, talking about like just being like not worrying about like that too much, but also like a lot more enthusiastically embracing like being present and not worrying about like the whole aging of it, and just like I really like not existing but also being present within one's imagination, as opposed to the very much like, I don't know, maybe we will die, maybe we won't. So it's like, I think like as a detox from listening to like some of the more depressing parts of the Moon and Antarctica, like this is your ear bleach for sure. Like that will get your heavy emotions away.
Antarctica as the bleak present moment versus Antarctica as like this fantastical realm where everything is more beautiful than you could possibly imagine. It's really cool, the spectrum of the concept of Antarctica can represent for human minds.
For real, like I wanted to go to Antarctica so often as a kid, and I mean like there's a whole website of people that say they're from Antarctica, but when you go there, they're never there. I don't know if are you on FetLife? Everyone says they're a location in Antarctica, but like would you go there and where are all the FetLife users?
It's the penguins.
Yeah, those kinky bastards. They're peak scat play. They shit on each other all the time.
Oh yeah,
I mean, like,
I've heard such things.
I mean, it's okay. It's kind of like, you know, Happy Feet, as opposed to like, you know, there's like, it's a George Miller film. You got some brilliant cinematography.
There's some freaky shit. Those are horny penguins in Happy Feet. I don't know when the last time you watched that movie was, but They do not shy away from sexualizing the penguins.
They're certainly horny, but at the same time they're animated. It's fun, it's cute, it's groovy. But also simultaneously, like it does go into that like kind of dark element. I was like animated penguins as opposed to the very real life like existence of penguins going through like those like horrible like life and death situations. Like there's like a quite clear contrast between Madagascar and March of the Penguins, where you actually see like the gulls like swapping down on those baby penguins. You know,
they just be dying all the time.
Like, if anything, this in one song alone, I'm just like, the whole of Antarctica is flipped upturned upside down, and like it becomes a magical fairyland where it being cold down there is this lush green peninsula of like, I think like we're
back to the Cretaceous.
We keep drilling into the ice, and we find out more about Antarctica's history, and it's like this like archipelago in some ways as well, and it's like I'm not looking forward to those ice sheets melting, but like there's a whole like continent and more down there.
Might be fun down there for our great grandkids.
Yeah, we should make sure we keep it for everyone. The Antarctica is made for the people.
The Antarctic anarchist commune.
Yeah, for real.
I also want to say that you pointed this out. I also love the concept of like, let's pretend we don't exist as a way to escape everything. Like, that as if that's the only way you can imagine yourself being happy, is pretending that you don't exist at all. It's bleak, but it's really clever.
At least in the present moment of like how horrible things are. And I think that's kind of like what we all do every day. Like we kind of like get stuck in our smartphones looking at those vertical videos. Like we're not existing here, but like we exist in an escapism of some form.
You're just processing like random shit that other people are saying. You're processing nothing that's happening to you. It's like you don't exist.
Liz, if you're listening to this, remember you used to meditate and like go to Hogwarts?
Reality shifting.
Reality shifting. This is exactly reality shifting.
Kevin Barnes, reality shifting to Antarctica.
That's the way to do it.
Someone teach Kevin Barnes about reality shifting.
I bet they know.
But I also want to say, like, I love how Requiem for OMM2 starts out. It's definitely dancey, but it's also it's less driven by its beat. Mm-hmm. It's a little more. The rhythm is a little more diverse. It changes up more. It's a little slower. Mm-hmm. It kind of gently eases you in. And then I Was Never Young is like the funkiest fucking thing you've ever heard.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, the second track was definitely the place to put like, to get the groove started. Mm-hmm. To really get the groove started.
I really like how I Was Never Young. I'm going to like talk about Modest Mouse again because we're doing this on the Lonesome Crowded Cast. So like, I would say I Was Never Young is also very antithetical to Never Ending Math Equation, in the sense that Isaac Brock's talking about being, I was the same as I was 6 years old, and oh my god, I feel so damn old, and I haven't really ever felt anything. Like, it kind of like embracing the ambiguity of like agelessness, but in a way that's like saying, like, denying the fact like Kevin has never like been young. He's always been the same way that he has they have been,
even as a child.
The quote from Kevin in this is, "I have always felt like an old man, too incredulous and self-conscious for my own good. I've always envied those people who could go to political rallies, school dances, church. I have always been too cynical to believe in most of these things that people bring comfort and security. A born skeptic, I suppose." Mm-hmm. I, for example, I also labeled myself an old man growing up as a child. I literally set my username up to be 64 old man because I was very convinced I would be on the old Nintendo hardware perpetually. Like, GameCube came out, still was on the N64. I was like, 64 old man, that's me.
I think that feeling like an old man, even as a child, is like a common autistic experience.
I think also nowadays, like, older autistic people are like infantilized, and we're like made out to be like child adults.
And also we're analyzing these songs backwards.
I like that we are kind of, because it's where our minds were like fresh from that song and going backwards.
Requiem for OMM2, I always assumed it was kind of a song about an abusive relationship, because it goes, when I met you, I was just a kid, hadn't built up my defenses, so I gave my heart completely. To me, the vibe is like, someone getting taken advantage of because they don't know about the world, they don't know how people can be. But then the comment that Kevin Barnes left explaining what this song is about, so interesting. I never would have guessed. They say, this song is a reflection on the early years of Montreal, the years of innocence and joyful madness, the time when we all lived together in a big house in the country. They were good times, but they could not last. That's interesting. That's a very different angle on the song, more like sweet nostalgia for something that got messy for reasons that aren't really anyone's fault, rather than like someone taking advantage of you. But I do still think that the vibes, the toxic relationship vibes are there, and that's also a really interesting way to look at someone's relationship with their own band. Like, this band really fucked me up. The lyric, I remember feeling like a ship whose captain was too drunk to steer, and you watched as I was sinking, waving sadly from the pier. It's really evocative to think about having that kind of relationship, like, with your own music, you know?
I think that's, like, more nautical theme than all of We Were Dead Before the Ship They Even Sank got outside of Marched Into the Sea. Especially with, I was more so, like, not to get too outside of Modest Mouse with this, but I was thinking very much of The Cure and Pictures of You for this song. And, like, you know this song, right?
Yeah, I know this song.
Yeah. It kind of, like, has some parallel with, like, not, like, needing to have the picture, because it's, like, literally the pictures of all that is seen. And, like, people have talked about, like, Robert Smith's music being, like, breakup music for people who are, like, in a healthy relationship. And, like, I kind of feel the same with how, like, Kevin Barnes, like, talks about, like, the lyrics, like, kind of retrospectively in the quote on the cover here, but also it's also talking about, like, a relationship with youth itself, because, like, the captain and Pierce sinking ship, it's kind of like there's a naivete to, like, the experience of growing up and being, like, having an ability to fail and love, like, blindly with an ability to make mistakes that, like, can be burdensome, like, because of how, like, awful making a mistake in a relationship can be. Like, it can sink things, it can, like, destroy things, but overall it's part of, like, the relationship with life and living. Requiem for I guess is of Mice and Men too.
Maybe. Well, that some people online were saying it was, but now that I know that it's about the early years of Montreal, now I'm back on your theory of Montreal. Requiem for Of Montreal something?
Yeah, of Montreal and mice. Okay, so, like, we know the ending of Mice and Men. It's 100+ book, right? We can do our own version of it. Thanks, public domain laws actually working and not being hyperpetually Disneyfied for all of humanity. We know that, like, who's its face? George, like, has the like, gets shot in the head, like, after being like, oh, Bunny, I'm sad.
George is the one that shoots his friend Lenny.
Yeah, Lenny is, Lenny's killed at the end of the book, but he's, like, Lenny is this, like, encapsulated moment of, like, an adult being, like, with the heart and brain of a child, to avoid the ableism in that, because, like, writing characters with disability with a non-informed lens is difficult of itself, but like, we have this perspective of this person who, from a literary, like, device standpoint, is, like, perpetually in the state of, like, permanent childhood. It makes this, like, mistake in like loving someone that literally results in her death, and rather than like face trial and experience like the cruelty of justice as an adult, like George takes Lenny's life to help him avoid that sort of thing. So like there's that like sort of cruelty that like you don't have the ability to make mistakes like that, like when you're like put under those circumstances. But like part of like growing up and like having that ability to like be able to make mistakes and learn and grow from it, like it is Requiem in the sense that like this is a melancholic experience of being like mourning for that sense of innocence, but also like becoming more of who you are. And I think it like merges very beautifully into I Was Never Young, considering like it basically says like I had my innocence like just kind of naturally deteriorated, and that's sad, but simultaneously I was always a fucking adult to begin with.
I was never young. Yeah, that's really interesting. And yeah, I can see I can see where people would make the Of Mice and Men connection with lines like, it's such a burden to carry around the vestiges of dead dreams. Like they were always, in that book, they were always talking about how they were going to buy a farm and make it all utopic. And of course that dream died tragically. And I don't want to make a wake out of my life. I just had to let you go. Yeah, I can see how those
I just
lyrics
had
would
to
apply.
let you go, Lenny.
Yeah.
Oh.
I found that book so cruel and upsetting. As we did it in a reading group, and all my classmates just drew the conclusion kind of uncritically, like, yeah, he had to die because there was no way that he could have ever been happy in this world. And
that's fucked, because like realistically speaking, like if George had enough confidence that he could like run away and go fucking try again, like there's plenty of fucking awful people that make worse mistakes than killing a person in accident.
Ain't that the truth? Yeah, George killed Lenny because he didn't want to deal with him anymore, I think. Like, you get the impression in the book they've been running together for a long time, and who knows what they're running from. But I think George just decided that Lenny was too much of a liability, honestly.
And even then, like, whose call was it for him to make? Even if he's his best friend. Like,
not his call.
I am not my brother's keeper, but simultaneously have to deal the arm of justice, because at this point there's no, like, it's either, like, from his perspective, you give up, like, your brother to the law and, like, have, like, face a cruelty that he doesn't comprehend because he is basically a child. And it's that childism is like it's like the Depression era, right? 1920s, 30s when this is written.
Maybe a little early. I'm not sure.
Like they were putting women in insane asylums for being upset. So like
it was a dark time, and like okay, Lenny definitely would have suffered horrible abuses like in the prison system. I just think like you said, they could have run away, but or
pretended that they didn't exist and go to Antarctica.
Yeah.
I mean, like, opening...
That's Kevin Barnes' solution.
Yeah, the krill farm in Antarctica sounds like the best place to be. I think we should head up to the forecasts of Fastest Future.
The song is so good.
I can't wait for it. There's, like, a big wall of red text I'm excited to read.
Yeah, that's so fun.
We're going to take a little break, which you will experience in the form of 1 second and analyze more lyrics and songs. Beep. I'm going to burn it. Let's be bad ASMR.
Good morning, America!
Welcome to the fascist state. Holy Toledo! Well, our forecast fascist future.
We are currently routing our enemies on the southern frontier, and we will wipe them all out, God willing.
Oh, boy howdy. Our enemies being innocent children who asked for nothing but to be fed. Rest in peace to the 94 Palestinians killed today, seeking aid. Fucked up situation by committed genocide by our 51st straight Israel. We've got 50 stars and one big Star of David,
and all of them are genocidal.
Yeah. Basically, I mean, like, this may be a little bit of the song itself being a hello. We are predicting a little bit of a fascist future coming up. But
let me just mention that the three songs that we listened to just now were "Forecast Fascist Future," which we're riffing on.
Mm-hmm.
"So Begins Our Alibi," and "Our Spring Is Sweet, Not Fleeting,"
which definitely was not fleeting in person. I feel like that song definitely jammed a little bit.
Every different segment they lingered on.
Yeah,
I think kind of explored.
Yeah, giving us a little bit of an extra treat of being there in person. Like,
and it was so wonderful because that was the number one song that was on my list of shit I'll never hear live ever.
Yeah,
but would so love to, and
I think
it was such a delight.
It would serve very well to like from how it was played. I would have been like, that just ends So Begins Our Alibi perfectly. If they ever do it, the two songs are basically connected.
Yeah.
It's playing before kind of the next song, The Party's Crashing Us, because this whole album is so interconnected and beautiful and lovely. I guess I'm taking a bit of a reverse approach to
let's just do a reverse every time. Our Spring Is Sweet, Not Fleeting is one of I'm a connoisseur of instrumental tracks personally. This is definitely a top 10 instrumental tracks that Of Montreal has done. No, top 5. I love that it's a chaotic carnival, but it's also a sweet nostalgic summer afternoon.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna just put the mic right here. I think it'll. Now you're Big Blue over there. Right here. Perfect.
Kevin wrote of this song, "I wrote this in Oslo while I was working on a theatrical production called Glamour to Kill. It was one of the musical interludes in the performance." That's so cool.
Hell yeah.
It was written for a theater production.
It's so true to the origins of how Of Montreal performs and exists as a band. They're very
theatrical.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting. Nobody told me it was so theatrical. So coming into this, I kept asking. I asked both you and Holland, what am I looking forward to? Y'all didn't spoil it. It was a whole actual production element, and what I will say is
Of Montreal's definitely well known for those crazy tours.
Hell yeah. Nathaniel Beckett is the light designer. I have the sticker that you commented on my computer.
From Modest Mouse.
Yes, he gave me that sticker after I complimented his work. Saw him at Modest Mouse 24 at Austin at the F1 stadium. And I was like, "Hey, amazing job." And he's like, "If you could fucking see it, I guess." And I'm like, "I did. And it was beautiful." And he gave me the set list and a sticker for his whole thing.
That's awesome. It seems like you really brought him some delight.
I hope so. But he does puppet work as well, with his light design.
Badass. And
he was I think either right before I saw Of Montreal for the first time, heard this album for the first time, etc., or right after. I think it was before though, because I talked about it on the podcast last episode. This is the missing element to Modest Mouse. I feel could really amplify its whole thing.
They need puppets bad.
They gotta get the puppets on stage with the lights. Make them real shiny. It's gonna be good. I think that would amplify it so much more.
We can make them puppets into stars.
fucking make the whole band puppets. Like,
yo,
like everyone's like
that's an idea.
Drawing Isaac Brock like a grumpy drunk mouse, and like he
could be a drunk mouse muppet.
Yeah, you could definitely do that. I mean, like there's Gonzo and like the rat guy. I feel bad. I'm going to get roasted in the comments. Like Rizzo, is that his name? Because like I was like I heard Lizzo and I was like, are you being like, what is this like L Rizzo?
I'm rolling with the LGBT.
Lit. I don't have many opinions on Lizzo other than Isaac Brock has mentioned liking Lizzo in the past.
She's cool. Yeah,
she is. I've heard problems with the touring production company complaints about the work ethic and everything, but I don't know. Maybe I'll cut it. Maybe I'll be honest. I don't know. I'm being honest. I keep on calling everyone going on the cruise the eco-terrorist, but like
you should be an honest mouse.
Honest mouse living in an honest house. That's what we'll change this podcast name to, Honest Mouse, where we give only hot, like unfiltered takes. I mean, we were just literally was just talking about the current events happening in Gaza. And so I'm not afraid to be honest.
This is some people's news podcast. Some people just found out that 94 people were killed today.
Yeah. Amongst all the other fucking tragedies we're going through. But I really like the mindset that So Begins Our Alibi is like taken into in contrast. And Kevin reads, this is about my wife and I having our first child, a song of growing up, about facing adult responsibilities while maintaining a love of life. It is just as important for parents to be happy with their lives as it is for them to be hard working and responsible. I think life should be viewed as an odyssey. It should be exciting and unpredictable.
That's lovely.
Yeah, taking a lot more, like, I would say optimistic, but, like, responsible of an approach, because, like, yes, like, loving what you do is terribly hard work, but it is quite adventurous. Like, I love doing a podcast, but, like, it is a challenging, daunting decision to talk about, like, the pollution that cruises do, and talk to my partner about boundaries of like, I need to work on the podcast. I'd love to give you attention, but the child, our podcast child, needs attention as well. So I think it's also kind of given me like the mindset of like, if like our future creative projects, I can have the same kind of collaborative mindset. Like we can have this like be something we work on together in a sense of like figuring out how we work as a couple and everything.
This is our odyssey.
Yeah.
So begins our odyssey.
And I like that like Kevin Barnes like has the music like built into like the emotion and feeling and like literal in the moment like journey he's taking with their child and their partner.
What do you think of the mouse reference?
Mouse alert. Mousy aesthete. You're
like
my buoyant cherub, it's true. And I never want to be a literal friend, the abject failure.
I love that line. I love... Kevin has such a unique way of expressing things. I love that in a lyricist. And I love using the word little friend as like implicitly juxtaposed with like, you know, parent, partner. Like I want to be your parent. I don't want to be your little friend. Like that's what being a failure would mean. I'm reduced to being your little friend. It's a really funny and weird way to put it, but I think that it carries really potent connotations.
Taking yourself more seriously in the relationship.
Yeah, so true.
As opposed to the quote of Modest Mouse, where it comes from the Virginia Woolf prose of being a modest mouse-colored person that doesn't like to hear the praises of their own praises, you know? It's kind of like taking themselves seriously. Like, I am a parent. I am very confidently such and so.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, and Kevin talked about that in the documentary because like they split up with their wife just pretty shortly after the baby was born and went back to America to tour and got sucked back into the band. But they had kind of an epiphany where they realized they really wanted to be a father. They didn't want to be the kind of father that was absent.
Better
think
a
you can really feel
father
it there.
than farther.
That's exactly, I think, the words that Kevin Barnes would have put in this song if they were a true lyrical genius.
Meanwhile, I'm just a rat.
You're a mousy aesthete.
Yes. I think I wrote I'm just going briefly back to Our Spring is Sweet Not Fleeting. During the concert, I wrote down after that dark start, funky bassline, So Begins Our I wrote after that is DK64 Toy Chest Fortress level with wooden soldiers, wee woo around the world revolving.
Wow, your notes are awesome!
I have so many going on. I don't know what I'm thinking. After that, I wrote Disco Freedom, which I think works with
The Party's Crashing Us.
Okay, so I'm with it with my notes. So before that, I wrote...
It's a really apt stream of consciousness.
Waterfall mashup with this song, Hopes and Dreams.
You wanted to mash up Hopes and Dreams with Forecast Fascist Future?
I mean, I think it works in retrospect.
That's hilarious.
Or like Field of Hopes and Dreams.
I see that better.
There's a lot of that in both, but I don't know where I got Waterfall and Core mashup with this song. But it's kind of like it is talking about the present place, present time of like where we are currently with the fascism, and it's like,
yeah,
I think maybe in 2005 it was a little bit less like, oh, we're not completely all the bad guys yet.
Like maybe this will happen. Let's cross our fingers. But now it is no longer the fascist future. It is the fascist now.
Present time.
I'd like to read this gigantic
Yes, please
blurb.
read the big red text as the Kevin representative.
Kevin says about Forecast Fascist Future, this is about my fear of the U.S. becoming a fascist state in the near future.
Right now.
It seems plausible that with all the increased security measures used to fight terrorism, we will slowly lose all of our freedoms. That is so interesting. That I think this must have been written in 2005 and not 2024. Especially because, I'll read on, privacy will be considered un-American, so will the freedom of the press. The great model of democratic prosperity will come crumbling down and paranoia will reign supreme. This is a dark vision of the future and one I hope doesn't come to pass. That would be like such an ironic thing to write in 2025, I think.
Or even 2024, because like literally we are experiencing this. Like, kind of like, I mean, if, I don't know when this reissue was, like, launched, but, like, it was...
Yeah, 2024, yeah.
If it was before the election, I get it, but, like, anyone, like, reading this little block of red text, I mean, like...
I think it was before the election results came in, but, like, you could...
The writing
the
was on
vibe
the
was
wall.
bad.
Yeah.
The vibe was bad last year, and it's bad this year. They go on to say, this song takes place during a desperate time. The narrator is a member of the state interplanetary militia who has gone AWOL. He is forced into doing less than desirable work in order to earn a living as a fugitive. However, he manages to return to Earth and retrieve his girlfriend so that they can escape to a secret moon he has discovered and start a new life together. Let's hope he succeeds.
And so begins our alibi, our odyssey. I like how the two, like, flow into each other.
Oh my god, that's so cute, yeah.
Like, I think you have to escape being a fascist if you want to, like, raise
your
life.
odyssey. Oh my
because
God,
fascism
yeah.
is the death march of,
If you want to
like,
have a kid.
yeah, raising a child under fascism is
Yeah, because the only point of a human being existing under fascism is to die for the state.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that to happen to my kids.
And not even for the state, for the oligarch.
I think that Forecast Fascist Future is... This is tough to say. This is hard for me to say. This is painful for me to say. But I do think it's the best written song on this album. I think that the lyrics are so fucking vivid and evocative. They pull such cool and strange combinations of words. Cotton limbs, myopic mirror, sanguinary creeps. Ooh, it's so evocative.
Verse that's like the used as the main lyrical like tie through that keeps on popping up. The boredom murders the heart of our age, while sanguine creeps take the stage. Boredom strangles the life from the printed page.
Whoa!
Just going in reverse there, the boredom strangles the life from the printed page. I feel like if people aren't paying attention to what like the media literacy, for example,
it's so true. Like
it's
fascism's greatest ally is like political disengagement and apathy.
Yeah,
like feeling above it, feeling like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do as long as your life stays the same.
Mm-hmm. You could have the world just going on around you, and you just like not interacting with it because like a lack of actual democratic speech and like voting. That's like part of like, you know, not being a participant and
that's why,
letting it take over.
Like, people who defend Zionism, like, their goal oftentimes, like, obviously the ideal for them was if everyone was like, hell yeah, Zionism. But their goal when they're defending it is not to convince people that Zionism is great, but just to convince people that it's not worth worrying about. Because if they can achieve just that, then they're good to keep going. Good to keep doing what they do.
Yes, I have a lot of other thoughts, but I am I want to get to more of this album. Not to censor myself. It's more so like I am just trying to make sure I get every bit taken out of here as possible.
Do you mind if I say
go on? Yeah, I love that I love your hot takes. That's why you're a co-host on the podcast. Every guest is a co-host.
I get to be a modest mouse. I get to be a member of the Lonesome Crowd. I love the point where it's like, especially like considering now that I know this is a story about a character who escapes with his girlfriend to a secret moon. I love this bit where it goes, why do I always have to tell you, forget about the prescient signs, forget about the life we knew. I love that it seems to switch in that moment to the perspective of someone who is defending fascism or advocating the fascism. Like, you know, shut your eyes, shut your ears, stop thinking about the signs that we're descending into something horrible, stop thinking about how things could be better.
Yeah. Let's pretend that we're not here. Let's pretend that we don't exist.
Yeah. Yeah, it's this interesting interplay where this protagonist who wants to escape fascism also does kind of end up regurgitating what it has instilled in him, like the patterns of like shutting down your thoughts and even like abusive behavior, like refusing to hear criticism because it's too difficult.
There's one thing that I will add upon that, like the escaping to the moon here in this case, like, it's kind of like the moon being like uncharted, like tapped territory, like no one's living there. No one's
Terra Nullis.
Big quotation marks here with
just like Australia.
I'm not gonna say a lot about that. It's a colonization, essentially. Like,
yeah,
the answer to migrating away from your problems is bringing your problems with you.
That's so true. That's something I always think about. Like the solution, the solution to living in this fucked up society being to just leave it. I mean, yeah, okay, you shouldn't have to exist in that society, so good for you if you get to leave, but that is kind of an abdication of responsibility. I mean, it's morally complicated.
And if it's an abdication of your responsibilities at home, like you're not just leaving your car on the side of the road because your taillight went out, like but like simultaneously, are you going to like be one with the land that you're going to be part of? Like going to Antarctica, does that mean becoming a penguin? Like moving to Japan, are you Gaijin? Are you Japanese? Are you like moving to Palestine to be a Palestinian or a Zionist? Are you going to Aotearoa to be Maori or Pākehā? Like what's your reason of being there, you know?
I do think Kevin Barnes is going to Antarctica to be a penguin.
I would be honest. So. And I think a lot of like how people see like the mix between the two, like going to like escape the problems of fascism at home, like just making sure they're not being the colonizers that are the fascists that they're importing with them, because it's kind of like a societal virus in a way.
And I do think that this line that I wanted to point out, why do I always have to tell you forget about the Prussian science, forget about the life we knew? I think there is this little hint that like as this guy escapes with his girlfriend and they're going to be isolated out there on the moon, he might be bringing a little bit of fascism in there. And then it continues with this mantra, may we grow so gentle, never go mental.
Yeah, the ableism there, just being like, oh, we're not gonna go crazy, we're escaping.
We're going to create a perfect utopia. We're going to run away from everything that's horrible, and we're going to create a perfect utopia out there. And that's the solution. That's great. Yeah, that's the solution. Go out, just leave, go somewhere new, and you'll be free.
The human nature carries with you, though, no matter where you go. The ending line is, what is my number? 114395? I don't care. No.
I don't care.
I in this sense, it's just like, it is the abandonment of the identity of like who you are from this like state going into the new world. But like, you can't reject your humanity going into like wherever you are into the future. And it's just like, that's part of what I really like. So Begins Our Alibi is like kind of recognizing like what the two people that Kevin's singing about in the song are and who they are to each other. It's just like very going from this like closing their mind off from the signs that like from this previous song and being like, let's actually collaborate and be like put in the work to like actually make a better, more radical like tomorrow. And our spring is sweet, not fleeting. I feel
I love that song.
I as what it is in connection to those three songs, because like, I feel like so far, just from the presentation and maybe like the technical limitations, a lot of these whole like bits kind of are taken in three song acts, and I feel like it kind of closes things out. Also, and like, I think I want to like analyze the title here without rambling too much more, but it's like, springtime is like that season of growth, the season of like becoming like who you are, and that like that sense of growth and becoming like who you are into the future, I think is a really beautiful thing, like that, like they're carrying it with them into like this whole journey from not being like a young person, but being the whole as adult you are in this. There's like this sense of like neutrality that the Sunlandic Twins have on this front of the album, and like this plainness, like the plain suits they came out on stage with. It kind of has like this blank slateness.
They came out wearing like skin tight white suits, like full body covering their faces, and then the visual of the Sunlandic Twins art was like projected onto them,
which I feel is both like kind of like morphing like. From a theatrical standpoint, it's like very reminiscent of like shadow puppetry, but like with the visual elements.
So true.
Like it's miming work as well. But with this, it kind of like talks about like this raw state of growth and being that like it is. If we had to put a season on this album, I would like squirrely not just say it's a like one of the 4 seasons is a spring album. Sorry, winter album, summer album. If you are like very connected to spring being a summer adjacent season, you can have it be that. That's another podcast I recommend to you. Summer album, winter album. Their first episode was about The Lonesome Crowded West by Modest Mouse. So,
how joyful for you!
That's some post listening for after our next episode when we deep dive into the Lonesome Crowded West.
I'm so excited.
I'm pumped up for that.
I really love what you're drawing out here about how these songs are connected, Fascist Future and Alibi. I want to think about that more as I continue listening to this album.
Fuck yeah! Thank you. Let's hit up those next sides because we've gotten it's almost an hour 15.
It's going to be another hour.
Hell yeah! I'm into this. I've never done this before in podcast format. Nor I don't really think I've gone this in depth lyrically sitting in a session like this. So Aidan, thank you so much for being on the pod with me, and also just in general, even if we weren't doing this for the podcast, I'd be like, fuck yeah, this is the way to do it.
Yeah.
This is the way to talk about music and enjoy it.
My fucking pleasure. Thank you.
Wahoo! I think we've gotten to the saddest part of the album for sure.
Yeah, really. The Party's Crashing Us is... Okay, so we just listened to The Party's Crashing Us, Night Rider, I Was a Landscape in Your Dream, and Death of a Shade of a Hue. The Party's Crashing Us is... Obviously, it's a party song. It's a dance song. Mm-hmm. But it does kind of introduce this melancholic element of I only feel alive when the VU's flashing, alarms going off in my head. Like, this is definitely a person who is coping.
Mm-hmm. And from the little red brick here, I wrote this during a vacation with my wife I took in Florida. We took a long walk along the ocean at night, and the song slowly came to me. The views are a reference to the meters used while recording on an analog tape machine. The only time I really feel at peace in the world is when I am recording or making love. Wow. But too much or even your favorite things can make you crazy.
Kevin Barnes, there is a portion of the documentary I just watched where Kevin Barnes is straight up hanging dong at a concert. There is a cat battle. There's
battle.
A cat war happening. And they were fighting over the most important thing that I've said this entire podcast, which is that Kevin Barnes hangs dong at a concert in the documentary The Past is a Grotesque Animal. I mean, but dick fully out flopping in the wind.
Oh.
At a concert, wearing nothing but a thong that isn't even covering the part that a thong is designed to cover. So yeah, this is an artist who is definitely very open about their sex life. Poor Bandit.
We've definitely had some recent people recollecting stories of Isaac Brock doing some wacky things on stage. So this is definitely jarring for me to hear, but at the same time, I can believe it. Very eccentric. I love that. Talking about Modest Mouse in relation to this song, The Party's Crashing Us, I would say this is like the good times are killing me, but the good times are killing me, but the drug is love. In the very much sense that relationships too intensely all together is a very intense thing, and it's a very much thing you come down from and experience like a drug, I would say, romance, and has that dopamine rush.
Because all that drugs do is they max out the chemicals in your brains, just like fucking experiences in the world.
Mm-hmm. And I like this song's sort of beachy theme. The writing is very how the writing talks about the crashing us now as the waves crashing us. I can feel the imagery of Florida in the lyrics, but also in the instrumental.
There is an Island Time vibe, a Jimmy Buffett Island Time vibe to this whole album that I find so funny and interesting.
Oh, let me write down something I missed with this Paradise from Chapter 3. Da da da
oh
da
my God.
da da. But very much fun. More yeah. Tell me more.
Your Deltarune connections just keep piling up.
Yeah, of Delta Montreal, the Montreal Oslo Delta rune.
The rune's
tail.
The rune is crashing Delta.
The rune is crashing Delta us.
Black Knight Rider.
Oh my God, Roaring Knight Rider.
I was a landscape in your dark world.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god, I will get to that. I have literally written down notes for that. I guess we can go right into it. I will say really quick about Knight Rider, as at the concert I wrote, next track is True Lab, from Undertale.
Yeah, it's really like low, funky, but like slow and gentle, funky kind of grinding sound.
And it almost can have like a little bit of an ominous tone to it. I would also say that True Lab kind of does that in like in reverse if you flip it, because like not to give too much spoilers on Undertale, but like skip this part if you want to actually play Undertale with like out like getting spoiled on it. Like Undertale has this like experience where you go to this lab that has amalgamations of like people from the like beyond the lab that like were saved in medical experience, but very like Frankenstein grotesque.
Came back wrong.
But like yeah, essentially. But also in this sort of vibe, like while it's written as a little instrumental experiencing, like you can get a lot from it. With this, like it like has like a more upbeat but like kind of darker undertone, whereas like the darker undertone of True Lab has like more upbeat like kind of like vibe to it. The more you like experience and go through it without like, and you understand like the creatures down there, like they're just like the same like friends that you made up on the surface before they went through their trauma and tragedy. And I kind of like think like this is like the kind of the perfect drifting transition between this like the party's crashing us into like I was a landscape in your dreams, and like
it gets real sad, like it gets gloomy.
That's like the transition it needs between the two songs for sure.
I just want to say on Knight Rider, Kevin Barnes wrote, this is a funky little instrumental I created while experimenting with the program Reason.
The program Reason is like Reason, like software for
it's MIDI editing software.
Oh,
I just want to say how jealous I am that Kevin Barnes can produce something like this while experimenting, and it's like album worthy.
I mean, yeah, especially when you have like strong creative control. What I can tell of Montreal is like this is the indie band, is a THE all capital letters indie band. In the sense, like from my perspective and like how big they are and like how consistently they've had like the art be their own, it doesn't seem like they've ever sold out and like be like they had to compromise their vision for anyone else, but it's just literally just
that's huge.
Their consciousness to tape recording.
Kevin Barnes is very much like after the style of the like visionary auteur who is who just like on sheer virtue of their powerful creative vision is able to command like really fine control over everything, and everyone just kind of goes along with it, which on the documentary you can see that they can be a bit of a diva. There's like other band members who even that they will like fight for control with, but it's very much their brainchild, and they're a very independent person with a very strong artistic vision.
And I think sometimes you have to be kind of a diva to like get your like vision across, which I'm glad that they're uncompromising on this, because like who else in their right mind would have like a whole theater performance of like dancing around you while you're doing like live instruments on stage? Like that's like a challenge. Usually the orchestra's in the pit, you know, the actors are on stage, but this is like the dueling presence of such like makes it like so much like actually worth it, and it pays off for sure.
You can tell they really love what they do.
And I was a landscape in your dream. Talking about loving what you do in the sense that like even like making the painful thing of like a breakup song in lieu of like a conversation like they're having with their brother's ex-girlfriend, from what's in the red text. Please do.
It can be dangerous to look too closely at what is bringing one happiness. Some people overanalyze everything, and the simple pleasures are destroyed in a violent sea of useless ruminations. I am singing this song to my brother's ex-girlfriend. She overanalyzed him out of her life.
For real. I think Brother Barnes is probably in a lot happier of a relationship now and whatnot.
He has in the documentary, he had a mug that said #1 dad. So I think he's doing well.
I would say so. With this in mind, like, I do like it has like kind of like a melancholic, like, what is the, like, ding 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 ding, it's like a instruments that's kind of like a plucky. Oh yeah, this has like those chords, like meow 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 meow. I don't know, I'm bad at naming instruments, but like,
I was really pleased to hear the piano come to the fore in this song.
mm-hmm.
And there's some harp going on in the background. It's definitely not so much of a dancey song.
It definitely has like a lot of like feelings and emotions to it. I wrote down at the concert, add a little lost girl from Deltarune and With You in the Dark, and you have a like very much. Oh yeah,
it's like the same sound font. I mean, it sounds like the same freaking MIDI sound that that plays the main notes.
Absolutely. I think that's why I had a strong connection with like the song musically. But like looking at the lyrics and everything, like I definitely see how like the dark world in Deltarune is like basically a dream, and like I think a lot of the overanalysis of like what's the symbolism of like the dark worlds and like what is it supposed to mean, like I think it kind of deteriorates the sort of personal connection people have with like those dreams, like relationships as well. You can like end up losing the connection of like what the true meaning of it is based off like it's supposed to be a feeling. Like dreams are not supposed to be known in like exactness and like just sort of like unconscious thought that you experience like very immersed in the moment.
Deltarune has this very interesting world building where it kind of intentionally doesn't quite hold up to like logical scrutiny, because it's like a fantasy. It's like a very soft magic fantasy where like if you try too hard to understand the like patterns behind how dark worlds get created and what manifests within them and the rules behind them, you'll get really lost in the weeds. It's very much like intentionally remaining on like the surface level in these very literal interpretations of like the electrical outlet is British now. Deal with it.
Ram, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I forgot the whole lyrics and what the exact lines and everything, love. But I apparently the gender of the outlet is also kind of ambiguous, and people were using masculine pronouns for Ram, and I was like,
fascinating.
It's
an revealing choice.
I did like kind of neutral like perspective on the character, but kind of reviewing it a little bit more in terms of how I like heard this song. I wrote like Lost Girl and With You in the Dark. If we're analyzing the connections between the two, like a lot of With You in the Dark and like Lost Girl have like connections with Noelle's sister December, but also in particular, especially right now, like post like chapter release, everyone's like hyper analyzing what like.
I've seen some wacky theories.
Yeah, those wacky theories. I think kind of.
I saw a theory that Asgore ran Des over with his car.
Fucking truck, yeah.
I enjoy that, but I'm not sure I believe it.
Yeah, I'm very much speculative as that. Driving in my truck with one beer. What's that shape of the road? It's shaped like a deer.
Oh my god.
DUI. No fun. In terms of like exactly that. Like I think like the joke is very overplayed, and it's kind of like you will be disappointed when chapter 5 and 6 come out, like especially if you're banking on like truck theory.
But all my money on Truck Theory. I'm bankrupt. I'm ruined.
Come to Of Montreal Theory. I think it's going to be a lot more pleasant for you, and you're going to get a lot more out of it.
So true.
But it like, especially like, I do feel like the connections in terms of like the more mysterious parts. The majority of the song is questions. Like, it is half questions, half like statements.
It's a great insight.
With like, because it's it is talking about the fact that like, what am I? What are you? Like,
it's like taking this tone of like stopping and interrupting someone in the middle of their overthinking and like asking the fucking potent questions. Consider this, like, you've been lost in your ruminations, but consider that you've constructed a labyrinth in your head. Consider that you have discovered this danger. How did that happen?
Yeah. Constructing through talking, it sends you laughing without smiling. Like, ooh, that's some more Chris vibes there, because there's like Chris, like, as like the player character, like, is like very much like, there's oddities in how they're controlled, like, by your actions and versus how they like express themselves. Like, that's another like, what are you actually thinking and like feeling, as opposed to like what is actually being presented. Like, if you analyze that too much, you kind of lose yourself in like what the overall vibe is supposed to be. So like, this song here, I Was a Landscape in Your Dream, is my Deltarune fandom for like, this is my song at you.
This song,
Death of a Shade of a Hue is our next one. Our like funeral rite of colors.
This is the least dancey one on the whole album. Like, there's hardly even a beat.
I don't even think I wrote anything down. I think I was just feeling so sad when I heard that.
Lost in it. Kevin says, the story of the demise of a color. Scarlet was one of the most popular and celebrated shades in the world. When she died, billions grieved. The hardest hit were the colors. If it could happen to one of the most beautiful and appreciated hues, then it could happen to any one of them. It is perhaps a strange idea for a song, but I like the idea of something that we all view as immortal dying. Musically, this song was influenced by the Japanese art band After Dinner. I haven't heard any of that, but I was reminded of Japanese video games from the early 2000s.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of like Ocarina of Time and other like sound fonts being put onto Deltarune recently, and there's a whole like part in chapter 3 with like old video game references, like to convey like backstory of these characters, but it's also like there is like some darkness to like old video game storytelling. Like, you have to like very use your limited hardware to convey some very dark and like sad themes. And Scarlet being like a color that's like both like this brilliant, beautiful, vibrant shade is also like associated with like the Scarlet Death or like Scarlet Fever, and like even the Scarlet Letter, you know, being a sign of like shame and guilt, and like being labeled with such as like a death sentence of itself. So it's like this both like duality of being like filled with life, but like being such a like color associated with death that it's like, whoa, it makes you feel a lot of shit.
That's true, yeah. I do associate red most with life, so it's the most ironic color to kill.
Yeah, it's the color of blood. What fuels us and flows through us, but simultaneous, like, yeah, wow. I really also find it strong, like Scarlet being the color that's described here as like the like driving color throughout this whole album aesthetically. It is what titles the album tracks. It is the, you know, word of God written below the lyrics, and like features heavily like in the merch, and the vinyl itself is scarlet. So like, is much to think about.
Sheesh.
Jeez.
Do you think if we get on to the next songs now, we'll be able to finish this in under 2 hours?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
I wrote a lot after this. Like, if you were looking
yeah.
at what's it called, Spanted next, it goes all the way to the first encore song.
Oh, wow.
I guess like
yeah, the encore. We should talk about the encore too.
we'll talk about the encore briefly at least.
I've actually got a record that I've got another of Montreal record that has some of the encore songs on it.
Ooh,
So we can listen to those.
we can definitely do some post. We might have to put it on another episode, but we'll figure it out when we record it, which is right now. We're gonna do Oslo in the Summertime. I think that's the bird one.
Yeah.
October is Internal, the Reputed Immortals, and I think that's it after that.
That's the end.
All right.
Oh, man.
Hell yeah. So we just got into those last few songs, but Aidan pulled out preparation for the encore tracks, which they got Hissing Fauna, Are You the Destroyer? Which has this beautiful like Mayan calendar like artwork on it throughout, which I'm thrilled to look at a bit more now.
This album's so good.
And you were telling us about who you met at the merch line, talking about the encore songs.
Yeah, the chill ass motherfucker we met in the merch line, a person named Percy, informed us from their experience of the Of Montreal tour so far that of the 5 songs that Kevin Barnes did for the encore, after they were done singing through the Sunlandic Twins, of those 5 songs, the first 4 were the same songs that they always do at every concert in this tour, but the last one was just tacked on at the end by surprise. And apparently Percy saw Kevin, like, after, I was, like, behind the stage at this point, so I didn't see this, but Percy saw Kevin, like, after they'd finished off what should have been the last song in the concert. Kevin went and, like, whispered in the ears of their bandmates, and then they all got back out there and did Suffer for Fashion, which is, like, one of their most iconic songs that they performed just for us in Austin on that beautiful night of July 16th, 2025.
I felt so special, and it was dance around to the balloons that came out for us.
And they threaded these balloons. It was this like as long as a fucking set of human intestines. The kind of long balloons they use for balloon animals. A rope of those was threaded out into the crowd. They passed them back and forth. Eventually, some of them made it to me and Harley, and we went wild doing like fucking ribbon dancing routine, the interpretive dance routine with those balloons.
Yeah, it was great, and we like jump rope and wrapped it around me and like lassoed. I liked it a lot. Yeah. I wasn't suffering for fashion. I was vibing for fashion. I love that.
Yeah, I was finding life's meaning and purpose for fashion.
Hell yeah.
So the last 3 songs on the Sunlandic Twins are Oslo in the Summertime, and then October is Eternal, and finally The Repudiated Immortals.
Oh, could you grab the book for this one?
Sorry, I put it back in here.
No, it's all good. That's my my point of reference for the lyrics and
sorry.
No, you're okay. Oh, you got a digital copy as well with the album.
Yeah.
Nice. So
Joy.
Now you don't have to give money to the AI eco-terrorists.
Spotify?
Yeah, I host this not so proudly on Spotify, my podcast. I need to I need to branch out and figure out RSS feeds
Oh my
and
gosh.
shit. But like Spotify is free and functional, so I need to.
Yeah, I can actually hook you up because I was hosting a podcast through various other feeds.
I am excited to do that more ethical podcasting. So Oslo in the summertime, it has this like very like
It's kind of like grim almost, kind of savage. And Harley started singing "Now's Your Chance to Be a Big Shot."
Yes,
the opening beeps, which was so satisfying.
The keyboard, like that synth,
Perfect
the I will add a little bit more in. I'll probably even mash it up in this podcast episode. So Oslo is in Norway. What's the currency of Norway?
Oh, what, my friend, that would be the Kromer.
That's the Norwegian Kromer. How do I know that? Thanks to my favorite video game news show hosted by Canadians. Loading Ready Run, I think, is the name of the network, but they have a brilliant news show in which one of the anchors like frequently mentions Norwegian Kromer and gives like the like, I'm not sure if it's because of Deltarune or if he's just done this forever now.
I also doubt Nintendo expected quite so much backlash on the price, because the Switch 2 is landing at $450 or 4,970 in the much more stable currency of Norwegian kroner.
For some reason, I wrote this down, like, whenever I was writing down my little, like, notes for the things. Spampton eyes on my hands, beware the man who talks to hands, hand-eye coordination, mash this up with hey everyone, and it's now your chance to be a big shot, and it's like, what currency they use in Oslo? Kromer. Oh my god, give me your Kromer. I can't believe this, like, actually locked itself into my brain so, like, succinctly. And when we were talking about Oslo in the summertime, it's quite the funny contrast of this, like, this is a perpetual, like, summertime that you, like, because of where it is in the world geographically, at 4 a.m. the sun is up, like, the sky is, like, always, like, bright and sunny, because that's, like, when you're in that Arctic Circle, that's how the sun works. And because of that, like, perpetual, like, daytime, like, there's not much, like, hiding you can do. Like, you are constantly, like, almost, like, being watched. It kind of gives that eerie, like, you know, like, I think that's why it was eyes on stage during that one, or was it the birds?
So it was eyes. So during that stage, during the whole show, these folks would come out in these skin-tight white costumes. Like I mentioned at the beginning, they were the Sunlandic Twins, which, by the way, the album, the art contained inside the art contained inside of the vinyl confirms that those are meant to be Kevin Barnes and Nina Twin, their ex-wife, which I suspected from just the one figure resembling Kevin, but it was interesting to have it confirmed by this really cool concept art that's all in this album. Y'all should get this album. Anyway, what the fuck was I talking about? Oh, right. During Oslo in the summertime, the puppet dancers came out with these, like, Daft Punk-esque robot masks that had one giant rainbow pixel eye on the front. And, man, they were fucking tearing it up. They were grooving just like all the rest of us. Mm-hmm. It's a real groovy song, but not a peppy song. This album really loses its pep halfway through. Like, The Party's Crashing Us is like the last hurrah before this album crashes out.
Yeah, true crash out. Like, I think, like, Crash Out, like, truly made its origins here. I don't know the etymology, truly speaking, but let's just say Kevin
Barnes!
They predicted fascism in the United States? Well, it was already happening. It's been happening the whole time.
The fascism was coming from inside the house.
The White House. Anyways, with this in particular, it talks about the experience of being an American in Oslo in the summertime, because there is a tourism that Americans
there's some
go
self-consciousness that they're staring at the beautiful people, staring at the sexy Norwegians. I wonder if there's some self-consciousness of exoticizing and sexualizing the foreign.
Yeah, at the same time, it's white people finding
it is all white
fascination white people. I mean, they talk about the Pakistani children playing inside their locked courtyards all day.
There's a lot of
they acknowledge the kind of classist ethno structure of the Norwegian, not Norwegian. What's that? Area of the world, Carl?
Scandinavia.
The Scandinavia, there are migrants of those regions, but they pretty much are kind of stuck in their insular communities because of how the structure of society kind of is in those countries, and being kind of almost touristy, faced with the potential reality of of having to live in Oslo full time permanently to be the parent that Kevin's destined to be. It's kind of talking about this not being the ideal environment for someone who is not acclimated to that sort of environment.
Yeah, this song is very confessional, and I think that it can be properly understood in a long line of very confessional of Montreal songs, and I think that's something I really love about Kevin Barnes' songwriting is their ability to just describe their own life in terms that are so frank and straightforward, and that capture so much of the emotion that they must have been feeling at the moment. Mm-hmm. Another example is a song from their very first album, Cherry Peel. The song is called This Feeling, Derek's Theme, and the lyrics are, I'm so excited, I just can't wait for you to come. I've been living alone and lonely far too long. This whole song is just about how excited they are for their pal Derek to come and live with them, and it's a really simple song with a really straightforward premise. It felt like Kevin just sat down and wrote this is what I'm feeling right now, but it's filled with so much emotion, and I really admire their ability to do that.
I really want to listen to this song whenever I can. I will be probably listening to this on the car ride home if I can figure out the car's Bluetooth. On top of that, the very I would say the straightforward thoughts and feelings. It's just I keep on thinking about Spamton, and Spamton being very excited to see someone for the first time in what feels like forever, and also being that sort of. I'm thinking about it more and more this thing that doesn't belong, a computer virus and a spam email amongst this whole program city that he's in, and
a fascist city.
Oh yeah, cyber city, the cyber fascism, we love it. My brain is shorting out, and I want to talk about the rest of this album.
May I read this read?
Yes, please go read it.
Under Oslo in the summertime, Kevin Barnes wrote, "My wife and I spent a few..."
Ow.
Sorry.
Let's restart that.
Under Oslo in the summertime, Kevin Barnes wrote, "My wife and I spent a few summer months in Oslo. This is the story of an American in Norway, a creature out of its element trying to make sense of things. It is very interesting in Oslo in the summer because the sun only goes down for a few hours every day. It is difficult to get used to, but it is great because the days are so long and you can get a lot done. Perhaps it is God's gift to the Norwegians who suffer so much during their harsh winters." Just kidding. Yeah, it's a very frank song. It's about what it's fucking about.
Yeah, I love it.
Except for Harley, it's about Deltarune.
It's about Spamton.
The whole world is about Deltarune.
Like, oh man, I really think like Jesus Christ is an Only Child is another song that it's highly connect to Spamton.
Is that Modest Mouth?
Is another Modest Mouse song off of Lonesome Crowded West, which is a 1997 album. That's his favorite year. Number 1 rated salesman, 1997.
Let's see, what of Montreal album came out in 1997?
Oh, there is an album.
The Bedside Drama.
A Petite Tragedy.
No, this is the one you need to study.
Ah, yes, for my further Spamton connections, my whole 1997 hyper-analyzing to figure out the true Spamton motivation. But Jesus...
His motivation is clearly to be a big shot.
Yeah, but what is a big shot? Ooh, yeah.
That is the question.
Who is Mike? Who's Mike? I don't know, but I think they're talking to you. But I will say this... the Jesus Christ is an Only Child is like it's a song not only about like a mistake that like should have been corrected, like this whole like Jesus being kind of conveyed as God's mistake here, and like in this sense like Spamton, this whole relationship with like characters and the like the story is like a thing that shouldn't be there, but it's also talking about like this whole presence of like working like throughout like this whole like existence of like if you have this summertime of like perpetual sun, there's tons of work that you get done throughout the day for sure, and it's just like what is like life but productivity at that point is like this American Kevin being in this environment, like he's not really supposed to be there, but he's also like compared to like society going on around them, like everyone's away on holiday. It's not really supposed to be like, you know, what like the regular living everyday life, but it's like this is the reality for people living in Oslo. It's definitely a fish out of water situation, but it's also like the work that's involved with like perpetual summer is like continuous. Like Spamton exists in this dark world, but like in the Lightner's world, like this is like what he like aims for and like strives for is to be like this like big shot in the bright light. So like in contrast, like
he needs your attention.
This kind of represents his desire to be in that like spotlight, to be the big shot, but simultaneously shows that like it is a place he shouldn't be.
Shit.
Oh. Anyways,
I need that AMV.
Let's make it happen. And October is Eternal is our next track.
Also written for Glamour to Kill, this stage production that Kevin was working on. This was for a more freaky, scary moment in the show. Yeah, this song is fucking awesome. The way it transitions for the last like full minute into the wails of 1,000 damned souls. And on stage they brought out one costumed actor who was wearing these white robes. They spread out their arms and the robes cascaded down from their arms like angel wings, and onto the white robe was projected like a flat, like an MS Paint flash animation of like a portal of twisting colors.
Skulls and eyes and shit. I loved it.
The spooky skull. It was so cheesy, but so fucking cool.
Yeah, we're talking about MS Paint. I want to point out the most famous MS Paint amalgamation boss of all time, Flowey, in Undertale. I wrote down your best friend, your worst nightmare. Like this is the like kind of ultimate, like penultimate like track of the album that is kind of like second to last big boss fight they do in the game. Like considering what happens on the pacifist route, it's just like redoing it. I'm spoiling Undertale. It's like 10 years old.
If you don't want Undertale spoilers, don't be listening to this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, but if you do, you want more of a reason to play it, like take this album into it with you and see what you get out of it. It like this whole moment on stage is like like almost like seeing God, seeing like a twisted monster, seeing twisted reality, and like it all being all over-encompassing and so overstimulating. But like if you're like tripping balls, which I suppose someone took acid and watched the show.
Oh my god, no, the person, the chill motherfucker that we talked to in the merch line, Percy, I got their Instagram. They posted on Instagram like 4 hours before we talked to them, like, whoa, I'm tripping ass on the gravel outside of Montreal show, and it's an hour till the opener, so...
Yeah, that's a little bit too early. I would see. Okay, I've talked about doing acid on this show before concerts, and this is probably the only context I will do acid. Is I take it during the first opener.
Really?
Yeah, that's how I started.
I've done my fair share of psychedelics, but I've always wondered what it would be like to do it at a concert.
Yeah, I typically wait, so I'm not like tweaking out like before anything is actually started, so I can actually like socialize, find the right people to do it around, and stand and get comfortable.
I feel like if I was seeing like an act I'd never seen before, I would be worried about like making the experience too foreign and too strange to really appreciate it.
Ooh, but I tell you what, that's a great way to like really have a lasting impression on you, because that's how I saw Tropical Fuck Storm for the first time. Candy flipping.
It had a real lasting impression.
Oh, absolutely. Like they were completely like how you said foreign and like outlandish because of the fact like the way that they started their first song, Braindrops, they were like moving in ways that I felt like that I was watching like ibises like walk around and like strut their stuff.
Phenomenal.
The bin chickens. Ooh. They had that like sort of like rugged feeling of like those big chickens. Like they kind of look like you know, they trash chickens like in a way. It's like they awesome. Rummage through garbage, but like simultaneously like they're beautiful, elegant creature. This like has like this like naked, raw looking neck and kind of at times look a little bit like, you know, rugged for wear. And like Tropical Fuck Storm is a band that was like is kind of like grungy in that sort of regard, while I would say like of Montreal in contrast like has this sort of like very refined, very well rehearsed, like sort of like chaotic but like well orchestrated vision. So like precise control. Yeah, this does feel like a freaky, scary monster in this show, but like to someone who is like seeing this for the first time, tripping ass, like this would be one of the most terrifying and beautiful moments of the show.
The fucking skulls. Yeah, this would be whack.
In terms of like the whole like concert experience in general, like this is where it all peaks for me, and I think this is like one of the biggest and best moments to see this whole show. Did I keep on talking about Birdley, but I don't even see him in my notes.
You did lean over to me at one point in the concert and be like, yo, that's Birdley's song. But
I think it was during the encore.
During the encore?
When did the Crowheads come out?
The Crowheads came out near the beginning, is the thing.
Oh my gosh, where? I don't know. I don't fucking
remember. I wish I could remember. I think it was Wrathpin to the Mist. I do.
Someone bootleg and record the whole thing, but I'm not going to promote it so you can actually go see it for yourself. But at the same time, I need to figure out when those fucking bird heads come on.
Yeah, I would like to know. The encore songs were Black Lion Massacre off of their album, was it False Priest?
Mm-hmm.
No, Black Lion Massacre off of their album The Controller Sphere, and then Lysergic Bliss and My British Tour Diary, both off of Satanic Panic in the Attic. Both, well, Lysergic Bliss I think has to be one of their most iconic songs. My British Tour Diary, I fucking love that song. Very confessional, like Oslo in the Summertime, just like straight up describing things that have happened to them in a way that it really pulls you into it and makes you feel like you're just experiencing all the up and downs. Then Every Day Feels Like Sunday, and that should have been the end of the concert, except Kevin was like, nah, let's give them an encore to remember, and they did Suffer for Fashion, which was such a fucking fun finale.
I think we still need to cover the last song off this album to close this episode out with. But I'm glad we covered the...
All right, let's talk about the Repudiated Immortals.
And to close out this album.
This song is so fucking good, man. Let me read what Kevin Barnes wrote.
Yes.
Kevin Barnes wrote about the Repudiated Immortals. This is the story of a heaven run by a Caligula sort of god, one who has lost interest in everything and amuses himself by hurting others. The narrator is one of God's loyal and beautiful angels that he has cast out of paradise for no good reason. In fact, God has become so bored of looking at them, he has cast out all of the angels and sent them down to earth to fend for themselves. The angels are understandably confused and feel totally lost on earth. God has struck them with some human senses, and so now they feel cold and hungry and sad and all sorts of things they never had to deal with before. They realize that the only way to feel any sort of security and equanimity is by sticking together and helping each other through it. We could learn a lot from them, I think. That is such a there's such a detailed narrative there behind this song. I never knew.
The one thing I will say about this song right off the bat, and I want to blow your mind even more, Undertale. just like think of that, like that last the walk through at the very end where like the actual track titled Undertale, and also like Flowey's conversation with you about like what the world is and how like who he actually is and whatnot, and like the repetition and the cycles of like being stuck in like this perpetual like undying situation where like the game will inevitably go on. You will restart your runs, you will play it more often, and like that's how the existence works in this world and everything. Like that memory of like Flowey and Azrael being like the god of that world, essentially. Yeah,
except a god who is really powerless in a really potent way.
Yeah, both powerless in this.
Flowey's like the angel that, like, you're the god, the player's the god. Flowey is like this angel that has to just watch you do whatever you want.
In a way, becoming like an apathetic, like sort of like rebellious against God at some points, and like how you're playing the game, like kind of reflects upon that whole relationship that you have with like, you know, our Lucifer like entity, you know, rebelling against God, but also like playing into the violent nature of what is like Satanism and everything. Or
it's like they're two competing gods and you're horning in on Flowey's territory.
Very interesting.
I will now plug my own unrelated work of fiction and say that this, for me, is a Locked Tomb song. This is Mercy Morn and Augustine. If that means anything to you, mwah.
To me, I'm clueless, but I'm always happy to learn more.
So in the Locked Tomb, there is a character who is literally named God, and he's just a guy, but he was granted divine powers by the spirit of the planet Earth in order to save the world, but he ended up misusing them in order to create basically a personal utopia where everyone is geared towards worshiping him. Wow. And he took his best friends from his original life on Earth, and they ended up dying in the first cataclysmic moment, and he brought them back, but he brought them back as like his servants. And so they have this bizarre relationship with him where they're like his best friend and companion, and they have these like vaguely repressed memories of like a normal human life where they were equals with him, but now also they have to deal with having to worship him as God, and he's experiencing like kind of a midlife crisis. He's depressed and consumed by ennui and self-hatred, but he can't process any of that in a healthy way. It's all very destructive and violent because he is God, and that kind of power corrupts. And Mercy Morn and Augustine, they are his servants, his lictors, and this song really potently makes me think of them coping with the sort of coping with the inherent feelings of like abandonment and neglect that comes from your god being also like an imperfect person, human being that you have to have a relationship with.
A potent message to come from a soon-to-be father to their child, really.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah. Yeah. And I definitely see when Kevin talks about like the bored god character that this song is about. I can definitely see shades of Kevin themselves, because I also earlier in this album when they were talking about on Wrath Pinned to the Mist, when they're talking about how life becomes so boring, they have to play games with it, they have to pretend they don't exist, that they're in Antarctica. You know, in the documentary, Kevin was talking about how they have a really hard time caring about anything except for what they're immediately excited about in that moment, and they're just gonna pursue that to the exclusion of anything else. I think that Kevin's self-insert in this song, The Repudiated Immortals, especially as, like you said, they're dealing with like sort of low-key, like going back to America, low-key abandoning their wife and child. Mm-hmm. I think that their self-insert in this song is the bored god. And they're imagining the feelings of their victims, you know?
For real. Especially to, like, kind of show, like, all you little things are incomplete. Why did he speak of us that way? And in the sense that, like, both, like, saying, like, yes, you are a person that is yet to, like, have personhood, like a bit of childism, because babies have such big and vibrant personalities, but like you're like acknowledging that like they have yet to have that experience of being like
incomplete. It's one way to put it.
Yeah, and given like 20 years later, like we have this whole like human who's now adult, and I don't know how they feel about all
crazy.
This
I'm
album.
Very curious about that
Absolutely
kid's
so
opinions on this album particularly.
Like, imagine like finding your baby book from like before you were born and saying like, this is a relationship your parents had before you were a
Except
human.
it's like a best-selling album that the world has listened to. Woo!
Wacky. And now I've listened to it, and now I've like said, "Ooh, look at the sad salesman from the dumpster."
That's just one more thing for that real 20-year-old human to consider.
For real. I hope you're enjoying Deltarune and Undertale.
Yeah, Alibi.
And this album, hopefully, too.
Yeah, hey, Alibi, play Deltarune. You'll love it.
I'm very curious to see what you think. If you want to come on the podcast, please like hit us up. We'll
Yo.
I've done interviews before, and hopefully
I
do another fun, cute one. I don't know. But I hope you've seen the art that you the listener, you the alibi, you the brain that is trying to remember all this. It was a beautiful show, like very like physically, visually, but like now that I have all the context, like lyrically, and through your analysis and Kevin's like memoir here, this has become one of the best albums I have ever listened to, and the first officially ranked on the Lonesome Crowded Cast, 10 out of 10. Woo, 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 woo.
Well, now you've got to give numbers to the Modest Mouse albums.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I think
you should do like a tier list of all the albums, how much you like them.
Maybe I shall, but I think I'll need your help with that, especially seeing what someone who's never listened to these albums feels about them upon listening to them. So, Aidan, would you like to come back on the podcast and listen to the titular titled of the podcast name, The Lonesome Crowded West?
Who, me?
Yeah, you, of course you.
It would be such a joy.
I'm excited to see what you think, especially since you have nearly none experience except for Good News for People of Bad News, and even then.
I know Float On, and I know Ocean Breeze.
Salty.
Mm-hmm. I know those two songs.
I really like your analysis of Montreal, and I'm excited to talk to you more about them in the future, especially if we go into another album, especially if there's another anniversary album done, because, oh my god, it'll be so worth it. Like, it's not just this album that's fucking awesome, like, all their music so far that I've seen, I've been very into, so I'm really excited for more of Montreal.
Thank you so much for having me on. It was super fun.
Thank you, Aidan. Do you have anything to plug before you sign off with me?
Do I have anything to plug? My YouTube is Teravidi, Teravidi. I've got JoJo's Bizarre Adventure video on there.
What?
It's really funny. It's called Ranking JoJo's by Gayness Correctly. So give that one more view, and I'll make a sequel to it within 10 years, probably.
I will help you make it. I got the video editing software on point. DaVinci will get us getting part 2 out there, especially if what parts did you cover in that video?
I covered 1 through 8.
Oh, so we got to get part 9 in there.
Yeah, I don't know a thing about part 9. Yeah, what people want me to do. So I rank the main characters by gayness. What people want me to do now is rank the villains by gayness, the Joe Bros by gayness. But as a little sneak peek, in case any big Teravidi fans are listening to this podcast, on the very off chance, I am thinking I might switch it up. I might rank them like from top to bottom, or by transness.
Oh yeah, there's a spectrum after all.
I have some complex ideas about Kakyoin's gender identity, but anyhow.
Gasp! Oh no, I need to hear this. Well, not oh yes. Oh no, yes. My brain is. I was going through my non-binary very outness at that time.
Kind of putting your toes in the water.
Not just toes in the water, like feet just big out there, like little.
When
everybody
you were, like,
see
watching
me.
JoJo?
Yeah, like I was I am comfortably out now because
That's
of
fun.
me leaning into the JoJo identity stuff. And did I tell you that I gave volume 1 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure to Isaac Brock in Iowa?
You gestured at having done that in the podcast episode that you released about the concert the other day, but no, I don't know the details of that.
Well, all we know is that like peeking the mic. Sorry, Simon posed with the book, so Simon is Jonathan. He posed. He did a Jonathan pose. I know, shocking.
That's so cool.
Simon, come on the pod and talk to me and Aidan about JoJo's.
Talk to us about JoJo.
Yeah, my God, the Stragged allegations are so prominent. I know you have a wife and a child, but we can adopt you into the Stragged community.
You are an honorary member of the LGBT community.
Straight ally, but
I'm
even
so proud of you for saying it. You said it.
But this is more derogatory, but also a slur that we have. Holland has introduced to the podcast, and unfortunately, will get us demonetized.
Every single episode.
Yes, the word of this episode is sponsored by the word Stragged.
The word of the week. Stragged.
We're not going to be able to escape the Straggots. They're coming for us.
I think that the Straggots will be following us around forever.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for listening to the Lonesome Crowded cast of Montreal's The Sunlandic Twins album review, concert review done by Aidan and Harley J. DJ Middleway. Good news for people who like bad podcasts. You got more coming soon. The Lonesome Crowded cast is releasing hopefully by now, the Iowa, Kansas City, and Oklahoma City album reviews and more. So look forward to that. And anything else before we close off? Now's your chance to be a Montreal fan.
Now's your chance.
Now's your chance to spend Kromer on your own investments. Get out of here.
We just want to emasculate them forever. Forever.